Well, hello, sexy people. It sounds like a blizzard is happening outside, or like a big windstorm. What's that movie, The Wizard of Oz, with a house and Dorothy? That. It's like that outside. So if we have some like ambient noise, let's just forget about it and focus on this incredible episode. I want to thank my beautiful friend Emma, who has the business The Broke Generation. She's got 2 incredible podcasts. Check them out. The Broke Generation and Broke Business. And Emma was basically like, hey, bitch, where's your podcast? And I'm like, yes, oh my gosh, this has been non-intentional. It's just been chaotic. Do you ever have weeks where your personal life is just so chaotic? I think I've had like a month of them. And it's so funny because I always tell people, I'm like, you want a bad day's business model. And if you need confirmation of why you need a bad day's business model, allow my life to be one. I have to get my wisdom teeth out. And then the next week I have to go to fucking court. What the hell? Now, upside of everything, I have all of this just tedious shit work to do. So the week that I have off with my wisdom teeth, I am probably going to watch some 1970s Euro cinema. And I'm also going to like clean up my Canva and just have like a Virgo week of like restoration and emerge in Libra season a new person. And with the court stuff, I actually have a really hot lawyer that is helping me out. So I think that that's all going to be good. But anyway, that is the personal life update that no one asked for, but you just got anyway. And today we are talking about something fun, hot, and potentially very controversial. We are talking MLM. Yes. But what I want to talk about is how network marketing actually made me better at business. Yes. The person that has had an award-winning Pilates studio, has manufactured a product, has done all of these cool things, is here to tell you that I became better at business when I did network marketing. So where do we even start with this? I have done, like, I feel like if there is something that my past self loved, it was network marketing. It was like multi-level marketing, get me in, you've got a product with a commission scheme, I'm all over it. What have I done? I did Avon when I was 14. I used to buy the Herbalife products. They were so fucking delicious. They were probably terrible for you. Isogenics, Juice Plus, doTERRA once, and then I canceled my account because it was just all too hard. And then doTERRA again. And there's probably something else because I love the hype. I love a fucking good sales pitch. And I just love it. So anyway, how did I get into network marketing? Now, this was back in 2017. I had sold my business and it was so interesting at the time. I had like a lot of friends that I met during this nutrition course, B School, and then I also had done this blogging course. And it was really interesting that I think when I first had my doTERRA account, it was like 2014 or something. And it was one of my vegan friends, because I used to have a vegan food blog. All the dirt is coming out now, I know. And we went to her house. She's like, I'm doing this like essential oils thing. And I was like, fucking love essential oils. Give me some lavender. I even remember what I made that day. It was like this chocolate passion fruit tart. It was so good. This like vegan chocolate passion fruit tart. Every time I made this as well, everyone was like, oh my God, this is so good. I'm like, exactly. This is why I have a vegan food blog. Anyway, went to this party. It was amazing. They had these oils and I was like, fuck yeah, I'll buy it. I'll just like bill it through the business, write it off, right? We'll just write off. Anyway, then they were like, do you want to host a class? You get all these free things. And I'm like, of course I'll host a class. We'll host it at my Pilates studio. And it was so interesting looking back. I think I got to elite in that first class, but nothing about it made sense. And I think oh my gosh, what is happening outside? It's actually so chaotic and loud, but I feel like that we are in the story together. So I have to continue. So I was so overwhelmed by it. And I think for me, they may have seen like, oh my gosh, cash cow. And I was like, I'm teaching 40 Pilates classes a week. I can't have another business on top of the DVD and on top of writing. So I was like, let me pull out. I'm still going to use the products, but I just like don't want to do this as a business. Anyway, that was in 2014. Then in 2017, I'd sold my Pilates studio and my friend Sherry had joined doTERRA. And she was like, hey, bitch, I think that this is going to be so good for you. You know, you're writing. This is going to supplement your income. You've got an amazing audience. You have all the people from your Pilates studio. I think you're really going to like it. Anyway, this woman could sell ice to Eskimos. And when she was talking about everything, I don't know what it was. I actually remember the exact location we had this conversation. I was parked just outside of Aldi in Mayfield, and I don't know where I was driving. And I was like, fuck it, sign me up. And I signed up in the car. I remember exactly what I purchased. She's like, just go through everything, have a look. I'll send you content. And it was so interesting that I think like a couple days later, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just do this. Like, I've had a really good experience with the products. I've used them for ages. And I signed up, and then the rest was history. I was obsessed, like obsessed with everything about it. And I quickly like just grew through the ranks. My sales were through the roof. And it was so interesting that, obviously with anything, you are all going to have people around you, but you are going to find that you tap out of your warm audience really quickly. And maybe this has happened to you at the moment with an offer where you have promoted something and then all of a sudden you're like, shit, I feel like that I have no one left to sell to. Like, everyone that I thought would purchase this offer have purchased it, and now I'm a little stressed. I don't know if you can relate to that, but this was probably what happened to me, I would say like a month into doTERRA, because my sales were just so high and I felt like that I was like, yeah, I've enrolled like every single person that I know. And it's so interesting that the business, like I think with the Pilates studio, because, I wanted to fill my classes and I wanted to make money. But, if we had a quiet week, there wasn't really this drive of like having to follow people up or push them to basically, enroll and join a class. But where network marketing is different is this is obviously based on months. So everything is per month. And then what happens, and I'm sure they all differ, but in doTERRA, your volume, so your sales volume would go back to 0 at the start of the month, and then the next month it would start again. So what would happen is you may be really close to rank advancing or a bonus, and you could be like $500 off. And if you didn't get that, it would go back to 0 and you would have to start again the next month. And let me tell you that when you are so close to something and you are as competitive as I am, you will go balls to the wall and you will find that fucking sale. You will find the money. You will have conversations and you will do all of the things. So this was me. I think in my second month, we were going to go silver. And at this stage, I was like, I think, how many customers did I have? Did I have like 70? It was a lot. Like, I'm thinking, I have no idea how I basically just was like, yeah, let's do this as a business. And now all of a sudden I have 70 customers. It was a lot. And I remember being so close to this goal that I was like up at night, like I was in bed and I was just thinking about this. And it consumed my brain. And I know some people are going to be like, this is why pyramid schemes are bad. But for me, I was like, it was consuming my brain in a way where all of a sudden it's like, has anyone seen that movie with Bradley Cooper, Limitless? And it's like he takes that little pill and then all of a sudden he's able to like access all of his brain. And it was really interesting because for the first time in like all of my businesses that I've had, I felt like I was really motivated, and I was motivated to get results and I was motivated to do things. But in doTERRA, this was like a different level of motivation. Like, I had this insane drive to a point where all I wanted to do was consume content. All I wanted to do was use my oils. All I wanted to do was teach classes. And I would be up in the middle of the night thinking about all the classes I could teach, all of the people, like everything. And I'm not a morning person, but I would get up out of bed and I would start working, and it would be too early to invite people to class. So I would be like drafting all the messages to send them. So when it got to like an appropriate time, I would send it to them. Like, I was fully in this. And it's so interesting again, because like I can't remember ever looking back and having that drive in other businesses. And I purely think it's because, in a traditional business, it's like, yeah, you go to a new month and you could earn $0. You could go to a new financial year and you earn $0. But there is something about seeing the fact that you are so close to something and that the only thing that is stopping that thing happening is your action. You will do things in your, like, you will do whatever you can in order to get that sale. And it's so funny, 1 month when I was so close to qualifying, I was like, shit, I really feel like it's so funny. I feel like I'd tapped everyone out. I'd gone through my CRM and I'm like, I don't actually think that there's anyone left for me to sell to. And I did this ridiculous thing where I went on Instagram stories and I was like, hey, if you buy a home essentials kit, pick a song and I will do a sexy dance for you on Instagram. And when I mean sexy dance, they were terrible. Like, not me trying to be sexy. It was actually just bad dancing. And people loved it. And they loved that they got to choose a song. It worked really well because people could tell when I was busy and they'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe everyone's buying oils. I think this is the time that I should buy my oils too. And that only happened because I was so close and I was not prepared for that to slip away. And I think in business, we don't have that. Like, we don't have these things where it's like, oh shit, we're at $8,500 for the month. Oh, well, that's still pretty good, compared to feeling like that you could miss out on like a $3,000 bonus. And I think sometimes what we forget is it's like, yeah, there's no $3,000 bonus, but there's still more money. There's still more reputation. There's still our reputation. There's still everything that we are setting up for the future. Like, we don't realize the work that we do now has tremendous payoff. Yeah, in network marketing, it's $3,000 or whatever the bonus was, but in your business, it's fucking everything. And I think because we don't have that, sometimes there's just not that drive. So now that you've got a little backstory on my doTERRA adventure, I want to talk about 5 things that I did in network marketing, or that network marketing taught me, that made me a better business owner today, and what you can do, okay? And this is stuff that when you hear it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I can do that. So one thing in doTERRA, we've covered this. We go back to 0 at the start of every month. So in network marketing, again, your volume resets. Now, what this taught me is that, you can only be busy in business and get by being busy for a certain time before you burn out. And what I mean by that is you may find that you are running your business and getting by not really having an action plan, not really having a to-do list, and just being super fucking busy, being on your phone, doing all the things, and then again, getting to the end of the day being like, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted, I'm feeling a bit burnt out. Like, you can do that and be successful, but you cannot do that long term. And the thing is, when your volume resets to 0 in doTERRA, you need to have an action plan on what your next month looks like. So, we are just finishing up August. It's August 29th. And, if this was network marketing land, my whole September would be organized and I would be booking classes into October. So even though we would be resetting the volume at the start of the month, my future was planned, and I would book in classes. I would organize things to make sure that future me was covered. And I think sometimes in business, we don't do this because a lot of how we market and how we show up is very instant. And I think because it's instant, we assume that marketing and planning is instant. And what I mean by that is we can market with Instagram stories. We can pick up our phone, we can put something out there, bam, we've marketed, tick that off. And I think because it's really low effort and it doesn't take a lot of time, we assume that everything in our business should be like that. And this is sometimes where we're like, oh my gosh, this is really overwhelming. So because there is this thing of us going back to 0, you really need to plan, and you need to know your numbers, and you need to have enough people. And in the business that I have now, it's really interesting that with Pilates, I think that I was okay at doing it. But again, I was really green in my entrepreneurial years, and I was kind of happy to be like a little bit busy and like a little like hamster that had taken heaps of drugs and doing all of these work. So I had a thought about how we could actually translate this into your business now. And one thing that I think is really helpful is to always have an income goal. And if you're like, well, I don't need an income goal, if you have any expense coming out of your business, even if it is an $8 a month expense, you need to have a goal to make that $8. Otherwise, you are going to be in debt. So you have goals, even if you don't see them. And not realizing this and having an action plan is probably why you're stressed. So, one of the best things that you can do is actually work out how much you need to run your business. Shameless sales pitch, join Business Bang. We do this and we do it fucking well. I do have plans to actually change it in the future in terms of the price and the structure. So, as always, the price that it is now is the cheapest that it's going to be. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Get your butt in there, baby. All right. So you need to know your numbers. But one thing that I was playing around with as well, and this is probably going to appeal to some of you and others, you're going to hate this. You can make challenges with your pay and be disciplined. So, this obviously relies on you paying yourself a wage, but this could be the kind of thing where if you want to pay yourself $1,300 a month and have a pay increase, and you're currently on like $1,000 a month, you could be like, no, we're going to stick with 1,000 and I'm only going to pay myself that if we hit this sales target that I've set. And if we don't hit the sales target, we don't get the cash. Some of you are going to hate that. Some of you are going to love that. But, if this is the kind of thing where like, yeah, this is your business and you can take all the money, you can do whatever you want. It's your business. But I think sometimes there is this real complacency that we can get into where we're like, oh, well, it's just another week. I don't want to hustle. I just want to kind of like cruise through and let Skydaddy just like deliver, in divine timing, it's all going to happen. And it's like, that's all well and good, but there's some lunatic out there that's going balls to the wall, that's doing all the things, that is making all the money. And it's like, you don't want them taking your clients and being super visible and having sales conversations because you're just like sitting back being like, yeah, whenever Skydaddy's ready, it'll just drop in, So that's one thing. The next thing is you need to have a signature system. And this has been game changing for me. So in doTERRA, they had something called PIPES, and it was prepare, invite, present, enroll, support. And this was basically how you grew your business. You would prepare, so you would know the products, you would invite people to classes, you would present, so you would present at a workshop, you would enroll, so people would sign up, and then you would support them as a customer. And what I loved about this is this just made this so simple that someone with no business knowledge could come in and start a business. And that when people were educating people on doTERRA, they would say like, what's the problem? Like, where do you think it is? And they would be like, oh, I don't really know. Okay, well, cool. Let's talk it through. What's happening here? And they would get to the root of the problem so quickly. And then that person could go and fix it immediately. I think sometimes in business, we make things really complex. And I think, especially if you are someone that wants to have a business or IP that doesn't run with you necessarily having to run it, I think this is really handy if you can empower or create a system where people kind of understand what is happening or how they can coach themselves. I think about this with Brooke Castillo in the Life Coach School. She has her model, which is, circumstance, thought, feeling, action, result. That's hers. In Business Bang, I created one too. We have our goals. Offerings, lead generation, and sales. And it's like, that is how you build a successful business. And this, again, was really helpful for me in realizing that, everything that we do can probably be distilled down to some kind of like system. It's like a 3-step process, or there is a process. And the cool thing is that when we have this process and we are talking about our offers, it's really, really, really easy for us to market them because it's easy for us to explain it, and it's easy for people to latch onto and understand and be like, yeah, I get this. I can do a 3-step process. I can do that. This is really simple. Now, this was something that I had set out to do with Business Bang, and I was so inspired with doTERRA about, again, creating a system for business growth. Now, this can be something where if you are a service provider, you can look at your services and you can be like, if I was to distill this down into a process or a hot little acronym, what could it be? And you will find that the more simple you can make this, the easier it is to talk about it, and that the easier it is for people to latch onto and end up working with you. Okay, the next step is you need to be in continual lead generation mode. If you don't have eyeballs, if you don't have traffic, you don't have a business. You can have the sexiest offers in the world. You can be incredible at sales, but if you don't have people, it means sweet fuck all, because you are not going to grow a business. You're not going to get money to come in. So for money to come in, you need people to sell to. Now, with doTERRA, it is a numbers game. Again, you host classes. Ideally, you can do it other ways. You can sell on Instagram, but the traditional model is you host a class, you invite people along, you sell. Now, not everyone is going to purchase at the class. Not everyone that you invite is going to turn up. Not everyone that purchases is going to purchase again. This is just numbers. This is just business. But what it taught me is that if I needed to teach about 20 to 30 classes a month, I'm going to continually need a steady flow of leads coming in. And I think what happens in business, especially if you're running your business, say on Instagram, we can look at that follower number and think, I have 4,000 people follow me. These are 4,000 potential customers. And they're really not. Because, sometimes someone follows you 2 years ago, then the algorithm changes and they forget. So could you imagine if your follower list had to go through and confirm every single week if they still wanted to follow you? That number would probably be a quarter for everyone of what it is now. It'd probably be less, because you just have a lot of people that maybe are just they're too lazy to unfollow you, or they just don't see stuff. Or maybe they are just passively consuming and they're not really your customer. So in doTERRA land, you continually need new people because you have this real motive of getting people along to a class. Now, what it taught me is that why am I putting this all on myself to get new people when I have customers that love me, that love their products, they love a Peta Xx experience and an incredible workshop? I'm going to get them to invite their people along to a class. And I will say this is exactly what I'm doing at the moment with my workshop. So I'm hosting email workshops online and in person, and I utilize people's networks. One of my beautiful clients wanted to come along to the workshop. She's already in Give Good Email. And I said, I'll let you come, but can you bring some friends? And she brought 2 beautiful people that were my target customer that came along and that had a really good experience. And this is something that you would do in network marketing. You would say to people, do you want to host a class? Who do you want to invite? So what you can do is, if you are feeling stuck in your lead generation, I want you to go back to your existing audience and I want you to ask them, and not just put a call out on social media being like, hey guys, can you invite your friends? Nah. We're going to go into the DMs, we're going to email, and we're going to be like, hey, Brittany, love your work. Love having you as a client. I've got a workshop coming up and I want more people with your vibe in that workshop. Do you have 5 friends right now that I could contact or that you want to send this to? Like, that's really not hard. It's a little bit of work. You can literally send a voice note. Like, that's something that you can do. Don't make this hard work. Make this easy. And you can go into this with the metric of, you know what? If I'm told to fuck off, that's okay. Let's just chase 5 of them, or let's be left on red. I had a beautiful conversation with one of my old clients, Rachel Rose. She is also doing incredible things. And we were talking about the fact that, she used to do phone sales. I did phone sales in the Pilates studio. And when you are selling on the phone, it is terrifying, but it primes you so well that when you sell on Instagram or you sell on email, you kind of feel like you're okay with whatever happens, because that is just terrifying. So if you've never done this before, just tell yourself that the first few times that you do this, it's going to be a little scary, but it's going to be okay. And the reason it's going to be okay is you're going to do it. You're going to see that you're not going to die. You're probably going to get a really good result from it. And then you'll do it again. And every time it will get easier. Okay. Now, point number 4 is that you always need to be selling. You always need to be selling. It is wild to me that people can have a business, they love their products, they love what they do, but they never promote it. And it's like, baby, if your shit is so good, why aren't you selling it? Like, if you can transform lives, why aren't you shouting that from the rooftops, Julie Andrews style? Like, if you are truly sensational, why do people not know about it? When did you chuck up a call to action? Why aren't you telling people? Because if you were that good, you would be selling. And in doTERRA, in network marketing, again, we go back to 0 at the start of every month. You got to be selling. And if you want to progress, if you want to go up levels, like you want to be presidential diamond, you've got to sell and you have to continually sell. A lot of people in business have these beautiful, big, lofty dreams, which I love. But it's really interesting that I think for a lot of us, we are using the same strategy to get to 100K month than we were when we were wanting to do 5K. And I don't think that you necessarily have to work harder when you want to make more money. Like you do to a point, but you have to be selling and you have to have a system. This is, of course, why I love email, because you can automate the sales process. You can use flows so that when someone comes into your world, they are sold to continually behind the scenes. Okay. So it doesn't need to be so in your face. It doesn't need to be so on social media all the time. This is where email is really, really smart to do that. Okay. And this is something that you just need to get yourself in a really good mood. As I said today, I ran my email workshop and I was like, you just need to be like Kanye, like one day. I'm incredible, slight God complex. Get there, write your emails. Bam. Guess what, babe? They're done. Schedule that. That's going to be in your email marketing software. That's going to continue to sell. How good is that going to feel for you? So this is where if you are someone that is really good at building on socials, funnel people to your list and have them be sold to that way. But you need to have a sales system, and this sales system has to be selling every single day. And then the last one is you can absolutely be successful positioning one offer as a good entry point. So in doTERRA, what we would do is we had the Home Essentials kit, which was the top 10 essential oils that every home needs with a really sexy little pedal diffuser. And we would position that every class would be about that because it was a really good price and it had really versatile oils in there. I think sometimes in business, we can get so excited about everything that we offer that we can overwhelm people into starting. And the best thing that we can do is make it really simple for people to give us money, have a good experience with us, and then they can sample the buffet that is everything that we're selling. So this is where if you feel that you are overwhelmed with everything, take a minute to be like, well, what do you think my customer is going to feel then? Like your customer is going to feel overwhelmed if you are overwhelmed. So this is where I want you to look at everything that you are selling and be like, what is the best entry point? Now, this does not mean the lowest offer. I have something and it's $35. Do I think that's the best offer? No. Like it's good, but we position something that's like, is it 10 times higher than that? Oh my God, it's 100 times higher than that. Give Good Email. Give Good Email is $3,300, and that is what I position as a really good entry point offer. It's like, this will give you money. It will systemize your business. It will act like a clone of you and the perfect staff member. Like what is not to love? It does everything that you hate. It sells and it does it all the time, 24/7 without mistakes and a report. Like what? So, knowing that makes it really easy for me to sell. We have Business Bang and that's incredible. But for me, it's like if I had to pick a really beautiful path to purchase, people would join GGE and then they would join Business Bang. Would I ever just drop GGE and focus on Business Bang? No, because I feel like there's so many people out there with similar offerings in business. But I think what makes this different is not many people have offers that are positioned with email that has, I think, the reputation and the standing that this offer does. I'm even thinking about Rachel Rose that I was talking about before. She has a really brilliant offering called Together that she is known for, that just sells, that has amazing testimonials, that is changing lives. So this is where you can think about people that you follow and be like, what do I think is their hero offer? And then unpack why that is. You'll be surprised that it's probably not the cheapest thing that they sell. It's usually a little bit up there in terms of investment. Like it's not a $20 masterclass or a downloadable, but it's something that they're known for and it does really, really well. And it's the same in doTERRA. Like your Home Essentials kit was $350. You could buy a single oil for cheaper than that. But the reason that we position the Home Essentials kit is the transformation that it provided. And this is where it, back to the system they had, you really had to believe in the products, because if you didn't, that was really hard to sell when someone was like, I just want to buy a lemon oil for $12. So when you look at your business, you can be like, what do I think is the ultimate entry point? And then from there, ask yourself, what would it look like for the next month to just go balls to the wall and position this offer and promote it and see what happens? You know, if I've got some funnels, how can I be like, I am the go-to person for this? This is where everyone starts. You can be really explicit and say, you know, I've got lots of incredible offers, but the best place for people to start is this offer right here for A, B, and C reason. Try it and see how you go. And see literally how you go. And you even may find that you feel a little less stressy in your business because now instead of thinking about how can I juggle promoting 10 offers, you're not. You're just promoting on one thing. Again, this is where we can use email to onboard and sell to I was going to say onboard and sell the next offer. And I will say this is actually how I got started in email. I was selling so many home essentials kits. I had so many customers. I was traveling Australia-wide teaching workshops. And I was like, how the hell am I meant to follow these people up? In doTERRA, they wanted you to pick up the phone and ring everyone. And I'm like, there's no possible way I can do that if I just enrolled 30 people in a weekend. So I created an onboarding system that was emails that onboarded my customers once they bought their home essentials kit, that got them onto LRP, which was the ongoing order, and get them to purchase their next oils. It did so well. I ended up selling these templates to over 400 advocates, I think in a year. And then from there, I was running training on how to get your bonuses. And I ran a social media course with my friend called the Social Cell that we developed. It's so interesting because I feel like that I have doTERRA to thank for this business that I have today. And I think that's where my whole perception as well has changed so much on network marketing, because without that, we would not be here. Can you believe that? Oh my gosh. So I hope that you've got some gems from this episode. And I hope that if you were previously anti-network marketing, you know, I think it always depends on the person. Sometimes it's not the system. You can just be involved with someone that's a little bit dodgy or see something done in a way that just doesn't align with your values. But for me personally, I love the products. I look back and I even tell this to mum all the time. I'm like, I actually miss doTERRA days. I miss going to workshops. I miss teaching regularly. I loved it. I loved everything about it. And even when it was shit, it was still fucking fantastic. And that is one reason that I've started doing in my business these workshops again, because I just love human connection. I love presenting. I love making someone's day a bit better, that even if I've had the worst week, that they can look back on that event and be like, that was so fun. And, you know, the workshops that I used to teach were completely free. I would turn up at someone's house, and if I didn't sell anything, that was on me. And it is exactly the same with these workshops online and in person. And, you know, we could charge, but maybe we will in the future. But for now, I am adopting the model that I did that made me so successful with my network marketing business. So hot stuff. I hope that you have learned a thing or two, and I hope that you have gotten something out of this. I love this. I love you. I love you more than, you know what? I got on Zoom. It's like 10:42 at night. I was like, God, I look like a mess. My nose is red. I've got the biggest zit. But my hair looks sensational. I haven't washed it in a week, but I would absolutely fuck myself. Speaking of fucking oneself, I went to an event tonight. There's a beautiful fragrance. Oh my gosh, fragrance store in Armidale. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this because I've got like a bogan twang. So I went to this beautiful fragrance event tonight, and it was at this beautiful shop. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this. Le Salon Fleurs. Let's all laugh at me together. And it's this fragrance store in Armidale, and she's like, come to this fragrance event. I fucking love an event. I'm like, absolutely, let's go. Let's sniff some shit. It was a workshop. It was amazing. And I bought this perfume, and let me just say that I'm going to have to put out a push notification when I go to work, because I feel that when people smell this on me, everyone's going to want to have sex with me. And the fragrance is called Elae, Elae by Trudon, and it's fucking spectacular. It's just sexy and it's floral. It smells like you've like had sex in a garden in golden hour. So I'm really thrilled about that. So I love you more than that. I love you more than my wonderful friend Emma. Shout out Emma on the podcast multiple times today. Emma took me out to lunch. We went for a gorgeous steak lunch for my birthday on Wednesday. So my birthday is Saturday. But we went out on Wednesday and it was so fun. And I am so grateful for so many incredible people in my life, all thanks to business. Where would we be without business? I feel like I would have no purpose and no friends. So I love you more than that. I love you more than crepes. We're having a crepe moment. It's like actual French week this week. I feel like I must have been French in a past life. But I love you more than crepes. Obsessed. I've just been eating them. If I see them on the menu, I'm like, yes, we'll get them. You may be like, Peter, sweet or savory? Oh, baby, sweet all the way. Fuck savory, right? If we want a crepe, we want sugar, we want lemon, or we want some sauce. I don't want ham. No, I want sugar. Well, hot stuff. I think that is a good note to end on. I also will say that I have batch recorded some podcast episodes, and when I am in bed recovering, trying to bring my swelling down on my face so I can look cute again for you, I'm going to be editing these and getting them out. We've got some sexy little interviews, and I know that you are just going to like wet your pants with excitement about it. Anyway, love you.